Hey everyone, East Coast Pete here. This is Midrock Crisis, show that brings you comments and facts about bands that you've heard about and maybe some that you haven't. So how about Styx? I'm just kidding. Hawkwind. If Radiohead came out of nowhere and went somewhere, Hawkwind started somewhere and ended up I don't know where. In '69, at the height of the swinging London scene of the '60s, there were rumblings of discontent that would lead to punk rock. Hawkwind was also rebellious of the commerciality that hippies had become. They opted for an anti-commercial approach that would create a new genre known as space rock. That meant electronics, noise, drones, a mechanical pulse, and a sci-fi theme, and possibly a radically reality-challenged cult following. Over 50 years, this band has had over 50 different members, and Dave Brock is the only one present for most incarnations. He began his music career as a rock guitarist who was determined to be free of capitalism and corporate control. In the '60s, Dave Brock played in a band with Mick Slattery named Famous Cure. Bassist John Harrison and 17-year-old drummer Terry Ollis replied to an ad in a fanzine. Nick Turner and Michael Dick McDavies became roadies. The band was purposefully disorganized and they opted for the name Group X, as in Brand X. They had no songs. They just jammed 20-minute renditions of the Byrds' 8 Miles High. Why not? After several makeshift free shows, Brock wanted to release an album. They signed with Liberty Records and settled on the name Hawkwind. They said the name was derived from their prodigious spitting and farting, but I doubt this. Their first recorded song was Hurry on Sundown. Slattery left the band because he thought the song was too commercial. He was replaced by Hugh Lloyd Lawton, who left after a horrendous LSD experience. In 1971, the first album, In Search of Space, went to number 18, providing commercial success for the non-commercial band. Science fiction and fantasy writer Michael Moorcock and dancer Stacia made contributions to the live shows. Moorcock wrote fantasy stories about Elric of Melniboné and his black sword Stormbringer, Coram, the Vathal Prince in the Scarlet Robe, Jarrett Carnelian, and others who were part of this Eternal Champion multi-book saga. Highly recommend you check that out. This included themes of chaos versus order, end times, time travel, and magic. Stacia danced at Hawkwind shows clad only in body paint, adding her own magical gestures. Dick Mick left, replaced by sound engineer Dave Detmer. Drummer Ollis was the next to go. This opened spots for drummer Simon King and guitarist Ian Kilmeister, aka Lemmy. Brock then decided to be the lone guitarist, and Lemmy was now the bassist even though he had never played bass. He was told to go make some sounds in E. Stacia and now Miss Renee danced under strobe lights and light show by Liquid Len. Urban Guerrilla track banned by the BBC as Northern Ireland was getting seriously rough and Guerrilla had bombs in the cellar. 1972, Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do. This is the one that started it all. I love the songs. I love the metallic silver and black sleeve, the deco crest, the stars, the platinum rockets, What surprised me was that 10 years later, my hardcore punk buddies knew all about this album. Apparently, punk protagonist Johnny Rotten said he liked it, and even the beery skinheads liked them some Hawkwind. I was just a leftover hippie. This music was the in-betweener. Space is deep. Fuck yeah, it is. An acoustic guitar, a primitive moog, 2 bass notes, and a drone vocal that asks the right question. And we get Lemmy. He says, "It's not bass, it's a deep guitar." Simon House was recruited on keys and violin. Detmar left, but Alan Powell joined, giving Hawkwind 2 drummers. Why not? In '74, Hall of the Mountain Grill, Psychedelic Warlords, Wind of Change, Lost Johnny, or Did You Mean Lost Lemmy, said to be the band's best album. Cool Sleeve, Derelict Spaceship. I liked the Space Ritual tour a little better. In '75, Warrior on the Edge of Time, more Moorcock. North American tour, and they lost Lemmy. Story went that at a rest stop, Lemmy debussed and got hit on the head and robbed of his camera. And the band couldn't find him, so they left him somewhere in northern Minnesota. He hitched to Toronto, where the next gig was, but got busted for a white powder that the border cops thought was coke, but turned out to be speed. They locked him up, but let him go because speed wasn't illegal in Canada. Then, when he finally got back to the band, they fired him. Their loss, our gain. We got Motorhead. Hawkwind signed with Charisma. Cavert returned as a lyric writer and a vocalist. Paul Rudolph was now on bass. 1976, Astounding Sounds, Amazing Music. EMI released Masters of the Universe in '77, a compilation album. Since the band skipped to Charisma, the next period in the history of this groovy group was pretty dark. Their lyricist, vocalist, Dave Calvert, took his excellent lyrics so personally that he method acted his characters 24/7. And this included touring with handguns, hand grenades, and swords. Yep, he went mad. And he was dangerous, so the band tried to pull a Lemmy maneuver, ditching him in a hotel. They were pulling away when they looked back and saw a guy with a long sword catching up to them in the slow traffic. He caught them and attacked the car furiously with the sword. Yes, he ended up in the mental hospital. Brock wanted to disband. He formed a new edition named Hawklords. Brock, Bainbridge, and King toured without a contract, just like the good old days. Bronze Records agreed to release a live album. Ex-Cream drummer Ginger Baker was drafted when King quit. Ginger wasn't copacetic for long, so Griffin came back. 3 albums were released, with Michael Moorcock contributing lyrics and even some spoken vocals. Band played Glastonbury Fest, Monsters of Rock Fest, and the Stonehenge Free Festival. There was a rotating door of drummers. Brock was irked because they couldn't keep time as well as drum machines. Richard Chadwick joined to play drums and brought stability to the band. Bridget Weishart joined the band to become the first female front person. Band took the name Psychedelic Warriors, banning techno. Brock was not in agreement with this. Turner and Brock were now adversarial, which resulted in two bands with the name Hawkwind touring at the same time. Brock sued, having secretly copywritten the name years ago. He won the suit. Second band took the name Space Ritual. Both bands had followings, and Lena Lovitch was a guest vocalist for a while. That would have been something to see. Eric Clapton even guested on some shows. And why the hell not? Not 1,000% sure, but I think maybe 1985's Chronicle of the Black Sword is their last listenable album. I may change my mind, but I don't think so. Hawkwind was influenced and has influenced many in rock, including the Sex Pistols and Black Flag. Lemmy gives Hawkwind credit for turning him into a good bass player. Bad news, Lemmy died in 2015 of pancreatic cancer and congestive heart disease. He was no spring chicken. Nearly 70, he gave us his all. So everyone seems to think a manned Mars project is right around the corner. Well, I'm not so sure. So many think the moon landing was a Cold War hoax. And as far as I know, there is not yet a way to shield people from the deadly radiation in space. But we can send robots. It's not the same. Just like drum machines aren't drummers. And there are music producers out there that think we can't tell the difference. But a heartbeat is not a metronome. A heart is not digital. That's the difference. Thanks for being with me. I hope to do another show just about Lemmy Kilmister sometime in the near future. Hit like if you like it. Ring that bell if you want to subscribe. Thanks.